Howdy, this is Mackenzie Franklin from SideGame LLC here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Today we're going to be organizing Mind MGMT, the psychic espionage game, the Deluxe edition, published by Off the Page Games and designed by Jay Cormier, Sen-Fung Lim, with art by Matt Kint. Now this is a fully sleeved copy of the game with no lid lift, and at the end of the video we're going to show you how to implement some of the storage for the different shift system components, but we'll make sure to let you know when potential spoilers will be revealed. But the whole idea here is to get gameplay started as soon as possible for both sides of the system. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please make sure that you do. It is the best way to help us grow. With all that being said, let's get started with organizing Mind MGMT. First off, let's lift this lid, and inside you'll see that we have the shift system box. This takes up the large majority of the top here, and inside you'll have these magnetic clasps that separate the shift system from everything else. They have their own game trays inserts, but I'm not going to dive too deep into them now because they do have spoiler content that you'll unlock as you play. Later in the video, we'll talk more about these, but one thing you should know about this content is that you can actually sleeve all of the cards inside of this box here. We use the Ultra Pro Pro Mat standard size card sleeves for every card in this box. So I'll leave a link in the description below for them, but you can keep them in their game trays in here nice and safe. I'll just go ahead and talk about those later. Underneath the shift box here, we'll have the player screen for the recruiter player, and they're going to be able to keep in these nice little sleeves here all of the different things they're looking for, as well as their current recruiter. So they'll all fit nicely here. Give that to that recruiter player. Up next, we have the main game board here. Place that in the center of the table. And then we have the player board for the recruiter player. This is going to be where they secretly mark all their information. Make sure that you're facing it appropriately. You'll want to put it on this side so that you have your team as well as the other team here. That way you're able to see where the board goes in between as well. You'll match the pictures up. Underneath all the boards, you'll have the rule book. That way it stays nice and flat. Underneath all the boards in the rulebook, we have all of your player components. We have your mind slip tokens for the different players, as well as the immortal pieces. We have the different agents. All of them will be slotted nicely in this left section. We'll have your 4 dry erase markers in the center like so, and then you'll have wells for the different tokens. So we have our different step tokens here, your recruiter tokens here, as well as your double-sided clue tokens for non-confirmed and confirmed information. So you'll put those into those large wells, as well as your round marker here. This is a really cool little lens as well, and you can use it to decode some of the hidden messages around the box. Really neat feature there. Lastly, you'll have all of your mayhem tokens on this top area. You'll assign 3 to the recruiter player and 2 to the rogue agents player for setup of the game. And that brings us to our card wells, the final portion here. One will have all of your rogue agent cards with the potential recruiters, their actions that are available to them, the ally and the different characters, as well as the setup card with the regular game setup, as well as the introductory training mission setup. So that'll all be for the rogue agents on the top here, and similarly on the bottom for that recruiter player, they'll have the recruiters they can pick from, their actions that are available to them, as well as the different icons that they're going to be searching for on the map with their immortals or as themselves as the recruiter. So that'll all go in that bottom section here. And that is everything for the standard game here. Everything else will remain in those shift system boxes if you're just getting started. However, if you'd like to stick around, we'll go ahead and talk about some of the unlocked shift components that we found and how we organize them currently, just kind of what our setup is currently here in the library. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the shift system. So the shift system here is a huge box full of these different modules. And in the modules, you're going to have these magnetic clasps, and each of these modules will have their own little box that's going to pull out. So they'll fit super nicely in here, very snug, and you'll pop these plastic lids off top, and inside you'll see that we have the different rogue agent or the different mind management player bonuses. It'll come with this little comic book that explains what's going on, as well as this really cool, straightforward component list that's going to clearly lay out what's in each container. So generally, you're going to have lots of different cards, as well as tokens and components. After you unlock something, we tend to like to leave the rules out like this, so we can kind of keep track of what's actually been unlocked for that player. So a lot of these are small little bonuses that are going to change the game, but also you might find things that replace different actions or abilities. For example, this component here is a new person that the recruiter player has to actually find, so it's going to make the game a little bit harder for them, as well as all of the extra components that are added in this module. In addition, you may unlock cards that replace other cards that exist in the game, and you'll just kind of return them back to here. So that's what's inside of the shift box itself. Let's talk about some of the specific components that you'll find in the shift system. Most of these shift packages are going to add new components for a specific player. So for example, the first one that you'll unlock is a new movement action. So you'll add that to all of the other actions that the rogue agent has, as well as all of the tokens associated. So these are the psychic tripwire tokens to let you know when the recruiter player has passed through them, and the actual psychic tripwires that you'll put on the board. And we'll go ahead and remove the round marker, and we'll put these extra tokens in that space. We'll then take that round marker and we'll place it in this bin on the left here with the rest of these dry erase components. As mentioned before, you also may have new cards that replace the setup conditions. For example, this makes it a little more challenging for the rogue agents to play. This is in the first recruiter upgrade, so it's going to replace that setup card. A new upgrade also has been a new character in the form of Duncan. So we're going to move these mind slip tokens out of this area, slide down our immortals so that we have room for one more character here, and then we'll place the mind slips in this smaller slot over in this edge here. We'll place the associated characters card with the potential characters you can pick from for that rogue agent side. And at this time, we'll also add any potential new allies or new abilities for the characters that are available. So put the allies with that dolphin here, as well as upgrade our new character Meru with her new Dark Channels ability. So all those components will be in that top area. And one last time, we're going to dive into this top section. First off, we're going to add a new potential recruiter for that recruiter player in the form of the Magician. This is to help give you some more uncertainty when it comes to those mind slip actions, as well as new replacements for the capture ability. So instead of the standard capture action being available, you now have to correctly predict one of the secret cards for the recruiter, which is pretty fantastic. In addition, you have a new upgrade for the reveal action, where now you can place a mind web, and any card that's being replaced, you can actually return to the main box because you'll no longer have access to that original capture action. It will be replaced by this new capture action. And the last update here is the Dreamwalker condition here. This is going to add a new barrier before you can start taking the reveal action, where you have to track down the Dreamwalker. So you're going to have to include these cards into your no reveal sections because it's going to block it out for right now. So that's all of the cards updated. And then lastly, you'll go ahead and put the Dreamwalker tokens, and you'll slide that on top of that new character here, because you will need these every game, and you'll give those to the recruiter player. The rogue agents aren't the only ones getting new cards. The recruiter player is also going to have to add a couple of cards as well. Now, once again, we've only gone through about 3 of the shift modules on each player, but these are going to be included. You have that new potential recruit that you can play as, that Magician, and then you have the new other abilities that give you some extra bonus effects. So we'll slide that with the actions here. The first one is the DB token. This is going to allow you to lie about one of your steps. We'll put it with those psychic tripwires to delineate that it's different from those regular step tokens. And then that's all of the cards here for that recruiter player. The last pieces you'll need are the extra tokens from the shift module. You'll put those on top of the rogue agent stack of cards, because then you'll need to put all of your mayhem tokens on top of that recruiter player cards. So just a quick summary, those are all of the components that exist for the first 2 shift modules here for the Mind Management player, as well as the first 3 shift modules for the Rogue Agents player. Now, once again, you're going to need to make sure that you put the cards that have been replaced back into these shift modules. I won't do that on screen here, but just an idea and a reminder, this is where we are currently with the shift system. You'll need to modulate and change your organization system based on the things you unlock. You can also always leave the components in here, but that is not going to set up speed up of gameplay, so it's kind of up to you how you want to approach this with the shift system as a whole. So that's everything that you really need to know about that shift system and where we are currently in our organization of the game. So that's currently where we are with our use of the shift system and how we store all of our current components in the box. Let's go ahead and pack it up with these thoughts in mind. First off, let's take our rulebook and put it on top of all the tokens, followed by the dry erase board, and then our main game board, and lastly, the player screen for the recruiter player. We'll then take our large shift module system box and place it on top. And that is organizing mind management. If you have any questions about what you saw here, please let me know down in the comments below. How do you organize your copy of Mind Management? Did you get the Deluxe edition? Do you organize the shift systems in their separate module packs? Or do you go ahead and implement them into that main organizer like we do here? How far have you gotten with the shift system? What do you think of the expansions and little modules so far? What do you think of the game overall? We'd love to hear what you think. But thank you so much for watching SideGame Strong.